Hello everyone, my name is This Comic Maker, and in today's video we are going to be comparing the Parkoo Permanent Markers against good old Sharpies. Let's get started. So Parkoo reached out to me and asked me if I would try their big old set of 36 permanent marker colors, and I thought that it would be interesting to try to compare them against regular permanent markers, or the most known brand, which is Sharpie. So we're going to open up this box and we're going to start swatching some colors, and then we're going to draw some stuff today. Already I can tell right off the bat that they are similar in shape. The Parkoo marker has a tannish barrel, and then Sharpie has like a gray barrel, but their caps are pretty similar. This part here is a little bit thicker than the Sharpie marker, but they are pretty much the same size and length and in width, and their nibs are actually pretty similar too. So the best way to test these markers is to just get right into Swatches and Doodling. I wanted to compare them to Sharpie, so I started by making swatches of both the Parkoo markers and the Sharpie markers. With this, I wanted to test the colors as well as see how well the colors lay down into solid squares. Comparing the two brands, Parkoo and Sharpie, they were pretty identical in vibrancy and how well they layered color down. I even did a layering test to see how much darker a color would get after a second coat of color. Both markers performed about the same, which is pretty impressive considering the price difference of these two brands. While I talk about the pros and cons of these markers, I'll be drawing different things along the way. First, I draw my own character twice, one with Sharpie and then one with Parkoo to see how they perform when drawing, and then I draw a bunch of your characters, which we did during one of my live streams. I usually stream on the weekends. You should totally hang out with us. No pressure or anything. Anyway, back to the markers. The biggest count of markers I could find for Sharpie on Amazon was a 24 count for $16.78 USD at the time of this video, which made each marker about 69 to 70 cents. Parkoo's 36 count of Sharpies is $11.99 currently, which makes each marker about 33 cents a piece. Because of this, you are obviously getting a better deal with the Parkoo markers, not only in price but also the amount of colors that comes in a set. Sharpie does have other kinds of colors in different packs, but not in a set of their whole collection together, so that is something to consider. So far with drawing them and comparing them to Sharpie, they really perform similar. So much so that if you had covered the labels, I might have not been able to tell the difference. I'll go through the rest of this by listing my pros and cons and then talk about my final thoughts for these markers. The pros. The smell is not that strong, actually. I don't recommend doing this, especially you youngins out there, but I did smell the difference. You kind of can't avoid smelling Sharpie markers or permanent markers in general. They usually have a very, very strong smell, and the Parkoo markers actually weren't as strong as the Sharpies. Some of them were, especially the darker colors, but a lot of them were very light in scent. Pro number 2, the colors are really, really bright, which honestly was not very different from Sharpie either, especially in their lighter colors like their yellows and their oranges and like bright greens and pinks and things like that. Those colors in both cases are pretty good. Pro number 3 was that the coverage was pretty good and felt like any other Sharpie marker. So there wasn't a whole lot of streaking if you're very consistent and were going kind of confidently through coloring areas, and layering colors worked pretty well despite some of the streaking you'd get in different places. Pro number 4, and something that I was honestly pretty surprised about, is that layering some colors looked really good. Now I didn't try layering a bunch of colors, but I was trying to get different colors of browns because they kind of have like one that's a orangish brown and then one that's a little bit of a cooler brown, but I wanted to have more of a yellower brown color, if that makes sense. So I tried layering some colors for a couple of the drawings that I did, and I was kind of surprised by how well they layered. So you can probably get a better range of colors just by mixing them up. The next pro, not a major one, but still pretty cool. The packaging was really pretty. When I bought the Sharpie ones, I had to like rip through that cardboard or paper backing that you usually get with those kind of markers, and you end up with a lot of trash. But I really liked the sleek, clear plastic, and if you want to keep it, you can obviously just put them back in there, or if you don't want to keep it and you have your own containers for your own markers, then you can easily just take that container and toss it in your recycling bin. And then obviously, as stated before, the price for these markers was pretty good. At 33 cents a marker, and they're pretty much the exact same as Sharpie, and as far as quality, you're getting a really good deal. Now the cons. There weren't as many as I thought I would with a brand that I was unfamiliar with, which was a really pleasant surprise. So for the cons, con number 1, the markers bleed, but that's pretty standard with any permanent marker. The Sharpies bleed just as much as them, so that really wasn't a concern. Con number 2, there is streaking with some of the colors unless you do another layer. So you have to work quickly and confidently, like I said before, to get an even layer, but Sharpies kind of like this too, so it's kind of expected, especially in your mid-tone colors. The next con, for some reason, I had trouble with some of the caps. Some of the caps of the markers rested securely on the backs, and then some just would not stay on, to the point where they would wiggle while I drew, or I was worried that they would like fly off if I moved the marker too fast. But if you usually set the caps down, then it isn't that big of a deal. But if you get annoyed by not being able to put the cap on the back of this may be a big con for you. It didn't bother me so much because I'm used to taking off caps and leaving them down with Copic markers, so it didn't get to the point where it bothered me so much that I didn't want to use them or anything like that. Another con, and honestly the biggest for me, is that some of the caps did not match the colors that came out of them. I found that I kept having to re-swatch colors because I couldn't remember which swatch matched which color. Obviously, since these aren't alcohol-based markers, the Parkoo and Sharpie markers don't have names or numbers on their colors, so I found that I had to constantly scribble or re-swatch colors to make sure I was picking the right color that I wanted. There were a couple colors in the pink and purple range that would kind of change color slightly after drawing, so I wasn't as confident laying down the colors unless I re-swatched them. So like I said, this was probably the biggest con for me. That being said, permanent markers are used for all different kinds of things. Writing, doodling, drawing, lining, making posters, signing. There are kind of like endless possibilities. So if you aren't sure if you really want to draw with these, they can be used for a lot of other different things. If you're looking for permanent markers in a wide range of colors for a decent price, I would definitely say to give these a try. If you're interested, there are links to the Parkoo website as well as the Amazon page in the description below. I was really surprised by the quality of these markers, and I'm really glad that they reached out to me and asked me to review them. As you guys know, I am always down to try new art supplies. Well, that's it for me this time, guys. Thank you all for coming to the stream and watching me try out these markers for the first time. I had a lot of fun drawing your characters as usual. As always, videos like this are possible because of my amazing patrons and people like you who like, comment, and share my videos. If you're new here and like what I do, please consider subscribing as well. I appreciate you all stopping by, and I hope that we can draw together again soon. Bye, guys.